Alright, first Nightmare video here. Got a bunch of different opponents. Starting off Toxicroak versus Alolan Raichu. Not very good for me, so I'm going to switch to Drapion right away. He's going to switch out to Toxicroak, which is okay. It's weak. My guy's weak against him, but I can get off a couple Aqua Tails, burn a shield, get him down to half health before he's able to Mud Bomb me. I'm not going to bother shielding it because Drapion's done his work. Xatu can come in and start farming energy. Now, I got a shield here because this Xatu needs to do the work for the Dark Pokemon now because his Psychic's still around, but I don't have my Dark Pokemon. So I'm going to keep him in, Aerial Ace this thing down. Yeah, he gets a charge attack that I'm going to shield so I can quick move him down and then be able to toss that Ominous Wind onto his Raichu that's coming out. Now he's got one more shield, so he's going to burn that, but I was able to farm enough energy so one quick attack and another Ominous Wind comes out. That does a big chunk of the Raichu's health, so Xatu very powerful against the other Psychics as well as the fighting types. And it doesn't need the Psychic moves to beat the fighting types, which is really nice. So going into another battle, leading off Drapion again versus Honchkrow. Honchkrow is an interesting one, very, very frail, so if I can get to these Aqua Tails and start spamming them, he's going to lose health really fast. So he decides to switch out and puts in a Lucario, so I'm going to switch out and put in Toxicroak. Toxicroak is really good against other fighters because the poison subtyping makes him resist the fighting move. So definitely really good here. Xatu comes in. There's not much I'm going to be able to do, so I'm just going to take this and get knocked out. Going to put in Drapion to do some work here. Shield so I can get to my charge moves. Aqua Tail's fine here. He's low enough, and I could get him to burn a shield, which he does. So I get to the next Aqua Tail and finish him off that way. So now he's sending in Honchkrow. I'm down and definitely have to shield this Dark Pulse from Xatu because Honchkrow very frail but very powerful. Same with Xatu. So that Dark Pulse could definitely have one-shotted me. So had to shield there. Going into another Nightmare battle. I'm going to start off with Umbreon this time, which I thought was going to be a pretty likely Pokemon on most people's team, but it only can do neutral if it's not using its dark typing. So that Last Resort is pretty good, but I don't know if it's good enough, right? It didn't do that much to this Raticate, although as I understand Raticate's a more bulky Pokemon. I haven't tried him out yet. I'd like to, but I don't know. Umbreon's definitely tanky, but it's just not doing enough damage here, so I'm just gonna slowly get up to the Dark Pulse, but he's able to beat me by going for Crunch instead of Hyper Fang, so that's fine. I'll send in Poliwrath to bubble this guy down, have a Power-Up Punch for whatever comes in next, and it's a Confusion user, so you have to be careful. The Confusion users are going to just crush down your fighting Pokemon. So I'm just going to keep him in, get as many Power-Up Punches as I can. He uses a Charge move at the end here, which would have been really, really good for my Xatu if he had saved that Ice Beam. So I'm able to get to, I just quick move him down instead, so I can Aerial Ace his Hariyama, which is not going to like Xatu at all. So this one's definitely going to go my way here. So like I said, Xatu really, really powerful. So I'm rocking a nice orange shiny one. All right, going into a new opponent here, doing another battle of 3, leading off with Drapion again, one of my favorite leads. He's got Lucario, so I'm going to switch out again, go to Toxicroak, because Toxicroak can take those fighting hits, not really care. He's going to counter down the Lucario, and then probably a Confusion user. Yep, so get off a charge move as fast as we can before we go down to a Confusion. The switch screen came up really fast, so I wanted to go Drapion, but it picked Xatu for me, which you get to see how Xatu is still really good against other Psychic Pokemon. So getting to the Ominous Wind really fast, he decides to switch out into his Skuntank, so I'm going to switch to Drapion, save that Xatu, and get to a couple of Aqua Tails here. I believe he shields one of them, I think. Oh no, he's out of shield, so he can't. I'm going to shield here because I feel like I might be able to finish off the rest of his team, which is the case. Get the Aqua Tail off, and then get to the Crunch on the Bronzong. So that one, Drapion, really powerful here. I highlight his strength later in this video. So going into another battle here, leading off with Polyrath, and he's leading off with Shiftery. I was ready to switch right away, but so was he. I guess he wasn't liking that matchup, but Razorleaf was going to tear me apart. I could see his logic switching to a Confusion user, but once I got this buff on Ominous Wind, it was pretty much game over at this point. Quick move down the Shiftry, and then Aerial Ace down this Toxicroak. He's going to shield, but the quick moves are just going to do so much. I'm going to shield to make sure I can quick move him down. So you get the buff early on with that Ominous Wind, and Xatu can become a tank. So got to be careful there. But Razorleaf into a Polyrath, I feel like would have been bad. So I'm going to lead off again with Polyrath, thinking that he's going to maybe switch up his lead, which he does, to a Confusion user, so not any better. So I'm going to switch to Umbreon, and I believe he's going to pull the switch into a fighter. Yep, Toxicroak. So it seems like most people are running one Dark, one Psychic, one Fighting type to make sure you're covering all your bases. You can roll the dice and go with 2 of one type and 1 of the other, but if you get matched up poorly, you're just going to get eaten alive. So I've been really trying to do 1 of each, finding a nice synergy with all of them, and so far Xatu's been on most of my teams because of how powerful he is. Working on a Alolan Raichu next. That's going to be a fun one to try out because of the electric subtyping. So Polyrath trying to take out this Skuntank. He's going to switch into Bronzong, so my Polyrath is going to go down to Confusions, which is fine. Actually, he gets off a heavy slam here, so probably would have been better saved for here, forced my Xatu to use his shield, but Ominous Wind's going to finish that off. And then he comes in with Skuntank, so yeah, this is where, you know, having that heavy slam to force the shield on my Xatu would have been key, so that Skuntank could have finished it off with Crunch. So sometimes, you know, you're spamming your quick moves over a charge move, and then you're like, well, I don't want to use the charge move anymore, but you know what happens. So going into another match, different opponent here, leading off with, again, Drapion. He has to switch, so I switch. Trying out my new Hitmonchan here, and I don't like it as much as Toxicroak because it can't handle the fighting types as well. As you notice here, this Lucario is going to knock out my Hitmonchan because I didn't want to burn 2 shields just to keep it alive. So problem there is it's a bit frail. So, you know, it's got the elemental punches. I'm not sure which I'm rolling right now, either ice or electric. I don't think fire has much use in this meta, but this matchup's not too good, so I'm just going to try and get off as many aerial aces as I can before he takes me down. Foul play on this guy, but I'm able to get off a bunch of Aqua Tails. I think I have 2 saved up, so Aqua Tail 1, Aqua Tail 2, and I was almost ready to get this Crunch off on his Xatu, but 1 quick move was all that was needed, so that was a very, very close match there. Going into another opponent who is trying out Spiritomb. I didn't want to invest the dust and more importantly the rare candy into something that I'm not entirely set on. The simulations weren't favoring it too much. Its typing's amazing, that's no question. Its moveset's only okay. So, you know, it's got Ominous Wind. You get that buff, it's going to be good. So the Crunch did about half its health, so I figured I could just Aqua Tail it down, burn a shield. Another Ominous Wind that I just don't care about, so I'm just going to get to another Aqua Tail just to finish him off. And, yep, I've got the switch priority, so if I need to switch, I've got that priority. Get to Crunch, almost, just barely died to Confusion. So Confusion, it's dealing not very effective damage, but it's not ×4 resisted because of the poison subtyping. So this is, again, where you can see Xatu shining. Gotta be careful of the Shadow Ball Hypnos, though, and I know this guy's got one, so definitely shielding any charged attacks coming my way from him. So Ominous Wind able to finish him off, and then I've got a Lucario that, you know, Power Punch not going to do anything, double resistant here, get down to Aerial Ace and finish off that match. So definitely an interesting one, very, very close there, and a couple of places where it could have gone the other way. So we got a couple more matches. This one here, I'm going to lead off with Mightyena, and Fire Fang's an interesting one. You know, it's against Bronzong, it's going to do quite a bit, but I don't know how much else that Firefang's going to really do well, maybe, against Shiftry, but I'm just going to go for Crunch. I feel like Firefang almost got him half the health. I didn't need to go for the Fairy move, which is the only weakness to a Ghost Dark type Pokemon, so I was fine with Firefangs. So quick move him down, get a Crunch ready for whatever comes next, probably a fighting Pokemon, which it is. So I'm just going to let him go down, put out my fighter. This is where you're seeing Toxicroak, definitely better than Hitmonchan. I can take whatever he's throwing at me and have a Mud Bomb ready for whatever he tosses next, which is his Hypno Confusion user. So again, got to be ready for that. So when Xatu comes out, the shield advantage is key. He's got energy advantage. I need the shield advantage to make sure I don't die to Shadow Ball. So that's the case. Get off an Ominous Wind and finish it off. Buff at the end, but doesn't really matter. So this last game is really going to highlight the strength of Drapion as a lead. It's just going to sweep this team. It's just so powerful. So we see a shiny Metagross first, and Drapion's like, get out of here. And then a Metagross comes in, or rather a Machamp comes in, and he's just like, I'm going to lie down, I'm afraid. Unknown comes in and is like, I don't know what's happening. So you see how good Drapion is, can sweep an entire team. So thanks for watching.